curtailed into the building. So for quite some time, they were still in the building. No one was allowed to move out. But regardless, I think, in my objective opinion, that the presence of CCTV cameras has really helped in that regard. But I also thought maybe yesterday, while security was releasing the footage, they should as well release the footage to show the movements of these killers, because you would ask yourself, how possible is it that you can identify someone who has blown beyond recognition by name? These are also questions that we should ask ourselves, because police says the names were released. I think we shall get them, the three attackers. And to me, this is as well so critical in terms of releasing information. So it's kind of unfortunate. And yesterday, after the explosion, police confirmed that these are ADF-linked attacks, the domestic terror. And you know, when it comes to ADF, most of them are, there's just the indoctrinated to believe in certain notions that, you know, when you die, you go to heaven and something like that. So it's totally a mindset change. And this as well answers the question where people are saying, why is it that these are only Muslims? And, you know, ADF, once they recruit you, even if you're Mukasa or whatever, you transformed into the Islamic religion, because that's what they really stand for, and they have their aspirations that you have to go by. So whenever you go there, you change names. We've seen quite a number of arrests, but you find that these people use quite different names. And these specific people are as well linked to the group that attacked General Katumba Wamala, killing the bodyguard and the daughter. And it's the same group as well linked to the bombing in Mpigi, the one of the late Isaac Matovu. So that's the update as of now, and I'll be going back on ground to ascertain the developments that they have gotten. But one thing I had really forgotten to inform you, yesterday at CPS, a few meters from where the other explosion happened, Uganda police as well detonated another improvised explosive device, and it was packaged in form of a gift and wrapped onto the transformer. So when you look at around that area, you have Mapera, you have Pioneer Mall, you have CPS, you have Kochi. There are quite a number of CCTV cameras. Maybe we also needed to as well identify who came and planted that package onto the transformer. It's
give us a report.
I can't overrule that. It is yet to trace, because CCTV cameras are around that area. So I think it would really be so important to know who came and planted that thing, because we operated there for about 10 minutes.
Very
and
true.
We weren't aware that.
Okay, we know that you have to go to the field, but we do have some other questions.
I don't know, just a quick one. Ivan, that has police come out with any report in regards to why these particular spots were targeted? For example, you look at systematically somewhere around the parliament, but also again just next to the central police station. I don't know if they have come out to report of any reason why these particular places.
They haven't really told us about the particular places, but regardless, I've as well tried to review this kind of footage, and I'm also trying to study it very well, because police is giving us their own version, and as well we also have to be keen to try and see. When you look at the explosion at the Parliamentary Avenue, these guys were in motion on motorcycles. The president now is saying it was one person who blew himself along that route. Then police is saying there were two people captured on the camera, meaning we had 3 blasts, if you go by the notion of Uganda police, at CPS, and the 2 suicide bombers who are wearing vests at Parliamentary Avenue. So the president is having another version of the story. So I think, but these are developments anyway. There is always room for amendment, but we should...
you can't contradict the president. Probably his word is the final in that regard. But just I think last year, Ivan, about this whole thing of the detonators. There's this story about that these people detonate the bombs. But from the footage that police gave us, if you've been keen to look at it, don't you think these people, someone else is detonating these bombs than these actual people?
Apparently, I've seen the video at CPS. When you map frame by frame, there is a flash that comes before the explosion. But anyway, light travels faster than sound anyway. So all these are things we have to put into consideration. But when you look at both the cameras, the one that the aerial shot, and even the other one, where the terrorist was filmed from the back, you'd see the movement. The person was moving, looking around, a little bit skeptical, and the hands were as well moving. So you might believe that movement in the hands was a detonator. But at the time of explosion, when you consider other people around the area, there are those who didn't even bother to take off. You know, they remained standing, others just thought after some time and then decided to take off. So we just need to study further this kind of video to come up with a robust conclusion on what exactly happened, so that we can really inform the public on how they can remain vigilant to address this kind of vices.
Okay.
Well, my concern now is with the journalism fraternity. Yesterday, I was following these events, and I saw that that second bomb that did not explode, by any chances, had it been detonated, we are going to lose a good number of our colleagues in this fraternity that are giving information. How prepared is this community, much as there is eagerness? Because there is no story that is worth your life. Even when I saw at Parliament, we know that sometimes terrorists will detonate one bomb to attract crowds, then the other will go off. How is there any concern into the work you're doing? Is police considerate of how far you can go, how protected you are?
Okay, all right. Ivan Kaho has to actually go to the field, but he'll definitely give us an insight in that while he's live on ground. He's going to be going to Parliamentary Avenue just to see what's happening at Parliament, what's the security situation right now at Parliament, and we shall be linking to him later on. But he did mention, thank you so much, Ivan. I will definitely be catching you on the other side. Now, Ivan did make mention of something very interesting. If we are to follow our back debt, these security threats that we have been seeing, especially if we pick it up from General Katumba Wamala's attempted assassination on his life, the increase on one CCTV coverage within the city center was very important. It was pronounced once again by the president, and also the introduction of trackers on motors, borders, vehicles. That was something else that the president actually also gave us the directive. However, it has not yet fully manifested. If that had been manifested, maybe today we could be easily able to track the ones that were on a border and trace them from exactly where they were coming from. But let's look at the employment of such technology and advanced systems that have aided police in such a time as this to actually be able to give us a better account of the events and also give us hope that there's direction in these developing stories and how they're going to be continuing on with the investigations.
Well, I think for the last 6 or 7 years, our government has invested so much in science in terms of fighting crime. It was about a year back when they launched, that is the CCTV call center. That is where all now cameras are incorporated at police headquarters. We've also seen improvement in our laboratories. That is now we have ballistic experts. We've tried to have one of the best laboratories actually in East Africa. I'm told that is at Nagulu. So there's so much in science, and of course science helps so much in terms of research and investigation. And like you said, moving back to trace the actual issue. But me, I'm also very concerned of how science can be more proactive. We've seen science in investigations in our country being more used in terms of postmortem, which is important, I can't doubt that, because you're able to know how these people came, maybe which kind of weapons they used. Now we know that these are locally improvised devices that are being made, but we need to see this science more proactive, like how these people are moving on a border. Do we have people in our maybe camera center that can detect and say, okay, this is a person that is moving in a manner, can someone arrest them before they do this? So that is when it will make more sense than actually in the times of postmortem, though it's also relevant.
Okay. All right. We also saw the spokesperson for police, Fred Enanga, also coming out and making a very interesting recommendation about backpacks. And first and foremost, he thanked some of the universities that had taken this action prior to yesterday's incidences, stopping students from coming into the classroom with backpacks. Macquarie University MOBS had already initiated this kind of system to be able to avert the insecurity that is sort of been looming around the country. And he said that this is a good initiative in aiding security to actually be kept in some of these facilities that bring in a lot of numbers, especially education facilities. Felix Nkunda, is this actually a positive way of dealing and averting these security threats?
Well, of course, everything now counts. Small as it may be, does cause contribution to the fight that we are in. Clearly, we're having challenges, and given the kind of a population we have, which is not very much security conscious in terms, because you don't have a particular shape of a bomb that is known, that it either come in this fold, it would look like with this or what, and all that. So these kind of measures all help. They work towards this good direction. But far from that also, we must continuously engage in a discussion of vigilance and in all forums, at all levels, in terms of security, in terms of, and for those religious institutions. In fact, yesterday we saw many people on social media platforms coming out to start making fear that as now we are dealing with the fight of coronavirus, now we also have to add on top of it this whole thing of terror. But I know one thing for a fact, and I will say this without fear or favor, is that the goodness of God, to start with, has been able to make people of Uganda survive by far. Clearly also the stance and the stability of our government in terms of coercion. We have been able to deal with these issues before. And I can tell you vividly and as a matter of fact that this one as well shall be dealt with. We also just thank God that the numbers were not as much as probably they would have been. I was imagining, and we were talking earlier, that imagine such bombs were detonated downtown, where you have crowds of over 100 people moving in just a small space. You know, not that where they were detonated, they should have been detonated there, but the concept is that purposes of saving more lives. But as we go through all this, we must be able to apportion real responsibility in different categories and clusters. But just simply, lastly, about this whole thing, we should, all of us, and regardless, because you saw what happened at the members of parliament, when the bombs, I don't think there was any cognizance of color, what, and all that.
They're all united to save lives.
Indeed. And I think that should be the spirit as we are in these bad times. Let us be vigilant, very much vigilant in terms of security. There's nothing you lose. You lose nothing when you do come out to speak about something you're not confident in. If it's a wrong thought, it will be handled by security. If it is, it will also be handled. Yes, Priscilla. Okay,
all right. Thank you so much. Now, you have mentioned Parliament, and we did get some statements from parliamentarians yesterday, their account of the events and what their message of hope is really to the communities out there. And we want to just have a recap of some of these members of Parliament.
Ugly scenes. I was at the gate of Parliament. I was at the gate of Parliament coming in. Immediately, 2 minutes, I had a blast behind. And when I looked over, I saw a lot of smoke. Then I drove like for 2 minutes and stopped again. And I asked the police lady who was there, is that a car blast? She told me, no. Honorable, you just got, seems there is a bomb blast. I was terrified. I had to drive and go into the parking.
And we were in a meeting, actually, when we first had the first one. And the most aggressive second explosion, which was just close to us at Jubilee Insurance. Thus, we had even to call off the meeting.
A statement signed by the clerk to Parliament out of MSJ, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mok.
Okay, all right. We also do have clergies that are also coming out and resonating with the somber mode that we are all in as a country and sharing their sentiments in this regard. We do have the Church of Uganda, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda writing to the bishops, the clergy and the Christians at large in such a time as this. Dated 16th November 2021, praise God from whom all blessings flow. Today we were all shocked by the news, images and videos of the suicide terrorist bombings in Kampala. We have many questions about how this could have happened and why it has happened. We hope to have answers to these questions and hope that they will become clearer as the days go by. In the meantime, we offer our sincere condolences to the families of those who did die in these bombings and whose lives are currently short-lived, and those that are injured severely by these evil crimes committed yesterday. We also extend our prayers to those who are injured in the explosives and those who have been traumatized by these events. The Bible does encourage us to pray for our enemies. So I urge all of us to pray for God to turn the hearts of the perpetrators from their hearts of stone to hearts of flesh. She does share a scripture there, Ezekiel 36:26, to pray for them to be convicted of their sin and to repent of their evil ways and turn to the Lord. We pray for justice and mercy for those who have been victimized and their families. And finally, let us all pray for peace in our country and refuse to let fear consume us. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. May the God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, comfort us in all our troubles, which is taken from 2 Corinthians 1 verses 3 and 4. Yours in Christ, and signed the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba. And we're yet to, hear from more clergy members and from different faiths, really, just trying to be with Ugandans in this regard. The role of faith in such a time as this, it's very important that people still remain positive and hopeful. And how can the church, how can the mosques all come into play right now to help people settle with the trauma that they're experiencing?
First, God is the solace. In such a time, when people lose hope, many of them will turn to their spiritual belief for comfort. So when spiritual leaders come up at such a time, because one of the aims of terrorists is to create fear within the people, create that panic mode, bring people to doubt what is next, doubt the leadership. So when these hearts are so up there with scare, and religious leaders come up with this message, but also, Priscilla, importantly to note that you will find that sometimes such acts have a connection with faith. So when religious leaders come out and denounce such activities, because what terrorists do is they indoctrinate people into some doctrines they believe that can cause them to act this way. That is why you find a young man is willing to die, not because of money, but sometimes the extent at which they have been indoctrinated to think that it has a connection with life after, that this body is just a mere paper. You'll go, but the benefits are high. So when religious leaders come out and explain the biblical, the Quranic, the Islamic, whatever sect, that this is an evil act, in one way or the other, we might see people's lives changed. We might see this reduce. So they have really a very, very vital role to play, more so in a country like Uganda, where at least religion or faith is something that we cherish as a country. A religious leader has power to cause transformation, to cause change of heart, because it's what we need. As security is hunting for them, as we become vibrant and vigilant and report these cases, we also need this godly element, that in case there are those that still believe that they are doing this for the right cause, to understand they are on a false doctrine and they are doing something wrong.
That is right. All right. Thank you. so much. Of course, we do have a poll question that we just want to give you a recap of so that you can continuously engage in. Obviously, from what we are sharing and what is being said, is that it all comes down to community and how we get to look out for each other by being as alert and vigilant within the things that are happening around us. How can communities increase vigilancy to avoid terror attacks? Hashtag UBCGMU. You can send us a WhatsApp on the line on your screen, but better still, even on Twitter at UBCTV Uganda. We'll be definitely looking into your responses in that regard. Now is the time we act together to fight the enemy that is causing terror in our country. Some respondents on our WhatsApp line. We do have a message coming in here saying the government should bring back all active forces who are in Somalia and the trained reserved forces to engage in such cases to ensure that there is enough manpower to remain on ground. And this is Otai Godfrey from Butevo. Thank you so much, Otai Godfrey. Well, definitely yesterday we saw some army foot soldiers on the ground patrolling some of these areas. We also do have another message coming in here from Saka Moses in Nansana. Thank you so much for watching Good Morning Uganda this morning. And you're saying people can keep vigilant by being proactive and being in charge of their surroundings. And that's very true. And that's what police is also echoing, that if it is not familiar, if it's not something that you've been seeing on a daily, now is the time to actually make report of it, and we shall continuously be sharing the numbers upon which you can actually send some of these alerts and suspicious things. We do have another person here saying, good morning Uganda, I am Amina. Well, thank you so much, Amina. I think communities can increase vigilance by reporting suspicious people or abandoned bags to police using the toll-free numbers and other lines both in towns and villages. Thank you so much, Priscilla, Robert and Felix. Amina does make a strong point there in terms of reporting suspicious people and also abandoned items. It may not be bags, by the way, and that's the irony of it, is that now you may be starting to look around for a bag, but Ivan Kahwa did make mention of the fact that there was another bomb that had been detonated. It was tied on an electric pole right around CPS, and it looked like it was a gift. So it may not necessarily be a bag.
Even a mobile phone.
Even a mobile phone.
Something that looks like a mobile phone can be a very good...
even these dustbins that we have within, you know, the buildings, the arcades, someone can just drop something in there. And so we have to continuously be very vigilant. As long as it's not something you have been seeing daily, that alone should give you a suspicious thing. And then we do have another respondent here on WhatsApp saying, good morning, Uganda. Not easy, but God is the answer. Like of yesterday, there were many common people with their bags as usual in town. This can easily be turned into suspects. Okay, all right. We want to then go to Felix, who has something to share with us also.
Well, of course, to pick it up from the message of the President of the Republic of Uganda, he did take onto his Twitter account to also send a message where he did come out to say now to the Ugandans, especially the Bazukuru, today at about 10 hours, some pigs in reality manipulated and confused Bazukuru apparently blew themselves up, one near the IGG's office and the other near CPS. He also added to say now at about 10:30 hours, the CMI and police squad injured and captured the third terrorist in the area of Katoke Waise with his bomb. He later died but gave us very good information before dying. Now his name is Musa Mudasiri. Also he adds to say the bombers of CPS was by the names of Mansour Uthman, and the one of the IGG office is by the name of Wanjusi Abdallah. Now all these are part of the ADF group that attacked General Katumba in June. Of course, he continues to say, as I told the country before, by attacking General Katumba, these terrorists exposed themselves at a time when our security anti-crime infrastructure has improved compared to what it was in 2018 when I made the speech to Parliament. Now, since the attack on General Katumba, the following has been achieved. 1. 7 have been killed while resisting arrest, 81 have been arrested, and 3 have been killed by bombs they were carrying. 2 of today were therefore running away from being arrested. Now we have been hunting for them since the Katumba incident. However, those killed since the Katumba incident are Nsubuga Muhammad, Manihaji, Moses Mudasiri, the one of today, Master Luwama, Juma Saidi, Sirwada Juma, and Amin Kawawa Mustafa. The one who blew himself in the bus, Matovu Muzafaru. Unfortunately, 3 people died in today's incident. Apart from the 3 suicide bombers, the injured are 36. Apart from hurting the terrorists, the country's strategy of vigilance alertness is helping to minimize the damage. Now, the suicide bombers at both CPS and IGG offices were forced to detonate their bombs at a checkpoint of police outside and also outside the IGG's office. Therefore, the public should maintain vigilance of checking people at entry points to parks, churches, mosques, markets, etc. The police will issue guidelines regarding securing the checkpoints because the checkpoints are protecting the buildings and the occupants. We are working with the neighbors to deal with those operating outside. They have exposed themselves. When we are more ready to for urban terrorism, they will perish. Rural terrorism was defeated in 2007 in the Semiliki National Park. I am referring to the dead terrorists as manipulated victims of confusion. The real pigs are people like Nsubuga and so-called sheikhs that confuse young people at Rweza. If blowing oneself up will send one to Jannah, let him blow himself up as an example instead of manipulating young children. 3 IED improved explosive devices have been recovered, including the one of today. The terrorists invited us and we are coming for them. Sabarwanyi, that was as of yesterday, 16th November 2021. Then there's a big photo of His Excellency saluting in his full combat as the commander of the armed forces.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Felix Nkunda. In that regard, we want to share with you public guidelines for terror threats right now because matters that happened yesterday, no one knew that it was going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen today, but we still desire that you are actually more alert now, more than ever. So we want to share with you some information from police, and in case you are seeing anything suspicious around you and you need to make an immediate report, then you can definitely call any of these numbers. You can either call 112, you can call 999, and you can also call toll free, which is 0800-199-699, or you can reach out to them on another call center, 0800-122-29, and those are the numbers that you can reach out to police. Then secondly, do not accept packages from strangers now in this season. Do not leave your luggage unattended to, most especially for people who travel on buses. People put in their luggage and then they step out waiting for the bus to get filled, so they go make rounds within the area code. Make sure that your luggage is not left unattended to. Do not allow cleaners and service providers to enter and work in your workplace or residence without supervision, because these can also be a trap. They're also saying entry garbage bins, dustbins at regular intervals, and put away all equipment not in use. So something I had earlier mentioned, the dustbins also, make sure that you empty them as often as possible. One that is next to your shop, in that arcade, in that building, in your office, make sure that you empty it as often as possible in such a time as this to avert the terror threats. And then we want you to stay alert, and police is saying in any enclosed places, find out where emergency exits and staircases are located, and think ahead about how to evacuate from a building or congested public area. We saw how people were being evacuated into Coach Towers directly opposite CPS, which really helped reduce the number of casualties there. We also, the police is also saying, be alert and aware of your surrounding environment. Be aware of conspicuous or unusual behavior. Don't allow visitors to your home or your office to have free access to all areas. They're also saying keep all residential, work and public spaces neat as much as possible to spot any out-of-place objects, which may be a bomb or other dangerous objects. Business communities, especially fuel dealers, mobile money agents, to be on the lookout for unusual transactions. And then in regards to the public transport sector also, if traveling by public means, ensure that everybody on board is checked take interest in unattended luggage, and take cognizance of unusual behavior of fellow passengers or anything unusual. Emphasize identification of persons and luggage, and then take interest in the safety of your neighborhood and in knowing your neighbors well, including what they do. So in short, engage in conversation just in case of anything. You have a stuttering report that police can work with. Always inspect your house, your workplace for signs of illegal entry, storage, and suspicious objects. And also ensure proper lighting in offices and homes and public spaces. Emphasis is put on identification of persons in homes and public spaces. There's also emphasis on conducting background checks on house helpers and company employees. That's very important right now. And also, local councils should register all residents and visitors and hold regular village meetings to discuss security of the community. And this is where, Robert Chirabo, you have been doing quite a good job in matching your area code. Engaging local councils and also making sure that those meetings, village meetings, are now increased to avert these security threats.
Priscilla, to me, that is one of the very most important issues we should focus on at such a time. There was a time, I think it was under General Kalekaihura, when he had a method that was called Neighborhood Watch. And also he launched what they called Mayumba Kumi, that after 10 households, you elected a leader, and this leader had direct connection with the immediate police, either a post or a police station nearby, so that anything suspicious, every 10 households, so you know who to go to closer, and then he can report contact the authorities in time. Because what actually happens is these people do not land in Uganda via parachutes, or they are brought in to carry out this work, then go away. There are people who stay in communities. So it is upon the community. I remember the times when we had Wembley, I don't know, but I think Felix can have a glimpse of Wembley. That was more or less now the flying squad. That how these people were able to break through is because there was so much shooting by guns and murders had become problems here. They got people who were within communities and they were giving them relevant information. Priscilla will be just there at your home, then in just a twinkle of an eye, police have surrounded a place. You see them leave with 3 guns. Because the community had been empowered and they had come up with proper reporting channels. No tourist, no domestic tourist is going to look different. They have to be like us. So if we can have communities where they stay and make it inevitable, where for them to exercise and carry out their works, then that is something we can really go ahead. But also that requires trust in security agencies, Priscilla. Trust. I think the issue of confidentiality is something Uganda police must build. Trust and confidentiality. That Achirabo Robert, when he suspects that I saw this neighbor, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a motorcycle, but yesterday he came with maybe 20-liter jerrycan. The next I saw him with a box of nails or something, that when I report such a person, I'm confident, then things are not going to backtrack and come back to me. You're the one who is rumoring here and there. So trust and community vigilance. Let's re-empower the LC system. The strength it had 2 decades ago. Can we still have that strength? Okay. Then I believe this will work.
All right, thank you so much, Robert Chirabo. Now we want to go to Ivan Kahwa, who is at one of the scenes of the bomb explosions yesterday. Good morning to you once again, Ivan Kahwa, and what is on ground right now this morning?
Yes, good morning. Good morning once again. My name is Ivan Kawa, and we are camping here at Parliamentary Avenue in Kampala, where yesterday a bomb was witnessed in this specific location. And as we are here right now, traffic is normal. The other side, that is Kampala Road, and then of course even the other side of the Parliamentary Avenue and the Winton traffic, the vehicles are being allowed to move. But as of now, on ground, investigations are still going on, and the place is still cordoned off, and for about 200 meters from the National Theatre and the Kampala Road where Uganda House is, the road has been cut off, and until here at Parliament officers are right here, and there is not much activity that is actually taking place since most of the details partially were released by Uganda police yesterday. The bomb blast happened just at the other white small vehicle. That's where the bomb blast really happened from, and according to police, 2 people were riding on motorcycles and detonated an improvised explosive device that Uganda police has over time come out to say that these bombs are manufactured using locally made material, which is mostly sold in the markets around Kampala. And of course, police argued that these kind of materials are sold by those people dealing in them in isolation without knowing that they can really come up to construct something that is dangerous and that might kill Ugandans. Well, other police officers are also here, the counter-terrorism. We're also seeing the military police, and even this kind of bomb blast that took place yesterday attracted security agencies from all walks of life. I was able to see the JAT, the SWAT, and the Special Forces Command as well that went to assess the situation that was happening in key critical areas. Now, this is these are 4 suicide bombers that we have witnessed in this country, Uganda, starting from the one who detonated himself from Mpigi in the Swift Safari bus. That was the first person, who was aged 23. And now we have not yet received information about the age of these specific suicide bombers, but if we get that information, we shall share it. So when you get the one of Mpigi, then the 2, according to police, who blasted themselves here, those are 3, then plus the one at Central Police Station who also died, that makes it 4. And when you include the other suicide attacker who was arrested at the burial of the late Lieutenant General Paul Lokech, remember he was promoted at that rank after he died, so he is now celebrated as a Lieutenant General. That makes the other 5th person who was as well arrested on attempt to detonate. And of course, the latest information of this specific one, the 4th one, who was part of this group that exploded these 2 key areas yesterday concurrently or simultaneously, was also shot at, arrested yesterday. But the President of the Republic of Uganda today in his tweet confirmed that that specific suicide attacker was actually gunned down and is now late. Well, that is the information as of now that we are having on location here. There is not much activity that is taking place. We can only see a few movements from security agencies, those one plain clothes, and even some vehicles coming in to access the Parliament of Uganda. And I think there has been a little bit of inconvenience for everyone who wants to access this area, because even I, for one, I am a parliamentary reporter, I operate from here, but I had to first go through the checkup. I was asked to go to the DPC to ask for permission to operate from here, and I was given allowance to do that. Well, where the camera person is pointing at, that is Kampala Road, and you can see that traffic is normal. The vehicles are moving, but this place where the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is, there is a red tape, and no one is allowed to access this point unless you do really have any business that is really taking place in this area. For now, this is the update I can give you, my colleagues, unless there is something you really want me to respond to, so that we can as well go the other side of the Central Police Station.
To find out from you on ground, you've made mention of businesses. Yesterday we had the Clerk of Parliament stating that parliamentary seating was on suspension. Yesterday's parliamentary seating. Today, from what you're showing us, we see as if activity is back to normal at the Parliament of Uganda. What is the state for that regard? And also on the other side, you do have other businesses. We do have government offices. Yesterday we saw when the bomb blast happened, and after we had the evacuation of some of the top officials of government that sit in one of those premises and properties that were evacuated yesterday, and yet we seem to see doors are opened and business seems to be getting back to normal.
Apparently business can't get back can't get back to normal because you see where the crime scene point has been put. When you look at DTB, then there is ABSA, then there is Jubilee. That is the building where the IGG sits. And of course, since it's cut off, that means there is no any other business that can be conducted in this area. Remember, most of them as well released statements yesterday that they will not be operating until maybe police or security advises them to do that. As of now, this is still a crime scene, and there are quite a number of evidence that can help in the process of investigating the whole kind of situation. But of course, just at the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, when you look above, these are the CCTV cameras. You can see that there are 3. And there is a 360 camera, and the video that was released might have actually come from that specific camera. I haven't reached the other side at the back of the other vehicle, but maybe when I advance to the other side, I can as well find out whether there are cameras that could actually give us a close-up shot of that specific one. Even behind my camera person, by the way, there are also other cameras. So now I am channeling the conversation into the aspect of how many cameras were able to map out the movement of these suicide attackers, so that we can really try to understand how these movements are, and perhaps that is the information that might be critical for the Ugandans in terms of ensuring that they are vigilant. When you release such videos on how they move, where they stop, it would really help us so much. Regardless, being vigilant might be possible, but sometimes as the security agencies get smarter, as the audience and the population becomes more vigilant, even the criminals are making their executions even more smarter. So this is the notion that we are kind of living in, and it is everyone's responsibility. But of course, we need to have other supplements, the CCTV cameras, the release of information that is vital and key in helping others. Before I left UBC, Chirabo talked about the issue of security, because yesterday the bomb, the improvised explosive device.
We have lost connection with Ivan.
But I think I've talked about something very, very important that really we must also understand. You know, such cameras, security cameras, are supposed to be feeding into one another. So do we have that connectivity with our security cameras that if you're to follow events, you can get a right connection to tell a story that is important for investigation. Can we have one camera that will feed into the other and the other? So if you're backtracking, that even people can have a way, as long as these people enter a circumference where there are cameras, because they may not, they may not have left maybe their homes or with these backpacks. Okay. Maybe at what point maybe they were given to somebody, maybe they interacted with somebody. All these, if the camera network is feeding into each other, that is very important, really. All
right, looking into the assessment of the impact of the bomb blasts, Parliamentary Avenue is the assessment that Ivan Kaho has been giving us the state of it as of this morning. We do have 3 minutes to the top of the hour, 7 a.m. Of course, we have mentioned that the employment of CCTV cameras has gone a long way in ensuring that we get to respond to this matter urgently, or with the urgency that it needs. But we also do have first account victims, survivors of the one at Parliamentary Avenue, of which we would like to just share with you some of the survival stories that are. Ivan, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here on location, Priscilla.
Yes, Ivan.
Now you can see they are changing this rope to allow for vehicles to access the Parliament of Uganda, and whoever is entering is being checked. And sometimes this is what we witness when something like this happens in this country. Perhaps the bonnet is even being checked. That's how serious it is here at Parliament, because business has to really move forward. Parliament can't really close simply because there was a tragedy that befell this side. And even, I think they're just clearing the scene of crime specifically here at the Parliament location, and the officers here are just doing exactly that. I think now the other side of Jubilee will only be the one left cut off, but this side it's really going to be cleared. But well, in that aspect, I was telling you members that on the issue of CCTV cameras, it is always very critical when we share that kind of information to the public, showing the movement of these criminals. It is always very key. But what is also not clear in this regard, that how security was able to ascertain the names of these specific bomb attackers who detonated and killed themselves instantly. A number of them, the improvised explosive devices were detonated. You can see the military police as well is jetting into the place to ensure that perhaps they contribute on the ongoing operation on ground. So I was saying that the aspect of knowing these terrorists who are shattered beyond recognition by name is also the other aspect we really need to interrogate further and get to understand how this conclusion was really achieved in that regard. An improvised explosive device that was detonated at Central Police Station where journalists were operating, and I think most of us who went to school to study journalism were always being told that no story is worth your life, and many times if you do not operate under the guidance of Uganda police, it's always detrimental. So you find that had that improvised explosive device been either detonated or something like that, many of them were going to be harmed in the process. That is why sometimes journalists may want to break the story, but it is always important to be safe in the very first place. Remember, if you as an informer, you're not able to be more vigilant, to use your observation when you're covering such sophisticated incidents, then how do you expect another Ugandan who is just waiting to hear information from you on what exactly you really have to share? So vigilance does not only come to the part of the Ugandans, the other side, but even the fourth estate, it's always very critical. And you know, today media has totally changed. Most of the pictures we are receiving were from the citizen journalists who managed to record something, at least from the incident of yesterday. Many other videos were as well being shared from other countries where people had gotten accidents implicating that it was happening here in Uganda. So this is really very critical, and it's really very sad. And I believe from yesterday up to now, Uganda UCC should have really done something about that, because once these kind of graphic images are portraying a picture that is not happening on ground, that it is really so dangerous, because it comes in with that bad taste that may not be good for the audience. 36 people are nursing woods, 5 are in critical condition, that is according to police, and the 36 have increased in the last 8 hours, and the President of the Republic of Uganda just tweeted confirming and alluding to that. But of course there is still a difference in the communication, but I think later on maybe the police itself will clarify whether the 2 suicide bombers were witnessed in this location, or it was one person who detonated this improvised explosive device, according to the President. And of course, for the CPS aspect of it, it was confirmed the man blew up himself when he had a backpack.
Thank you, Ivan. And we know that's a developing story. It's a developing story, so definitely there's going to be developing accounts and real confirmations that are coming in from the different security agencies that are working together to ensure that these threats are averted elsewhere. Now, thank you so much. Of course, later on, we will want to find out what the traffic state is like in that particular area code, because other routes are now open, and how that gets to affect business in the central business area of Kampala. But we'll get back to you later on. Thank you so much for giving us that update this morning. Okay. All right. Now back to the gentleman with me in studio. Obviously, the tabloids, the newspapers this morning also have their 2 cents of coverage to the twin bomb blasts. We'll start with the New Vision.
And the New Vision, a very big headline there, Museveni names terrorists, that is in the attack. And also we see 6 dead, 33 injured in the twin blast attack at Kampala City. Claim also survivors at Mulago Hospital casualty ward yesterday. Well, the names of the survivors there. Terrorists arrested, ADF responsible, says police, and border riders. Others narrate their narrow escape, how they managed to survive this. But also the New Vision gives you more regarding the education sector, where we have biology, geography, chemistry, plus senior 2 English there for you. Museveni, workers agree on NSSF money. Yes, also there is an element there of the NSSF midterm benefits, how they came to an agreement and what next thereafter.
Okay.
Now, of course, in the Daily Monitor, attackers named and we are coming for you. Twin mid-morning blast near key government installations in the heart of the capital city sent dwellers into frenzy. And of course, as President Museveni remains optimistic of defeating the terrorists within the outside and inside of the country. Now, of course, government workers agree on NSSF supervision, but also IGG opens parallel probe on Musenero. Now, also in other stories, Sobi and 28 others arrested over murder. Now, of course, the lizard comes in and says, wonders why everyone wants to oversee it. Of course, basically, that's basically what's much of the stories. All the headlines are basically all about what did happen yesterday.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Business is being affected here and there. We do have a notice that has come in for customers that do bank with Centenary Bank, temporary closure of their selected branches, and the branches that have been closed because of the security threat are Mapera Building Branch, Entebbe Road Branch, Nachivo, Namirembe, Freedom City, Najanakumbi, Makere, Rubaga, Natete, Waise, Kawempe, Wakiso, Kauku, Ntinda, Inchireka, and Kabaragala, Nasana, as well as Lugogo branches. All those branches are temporary under closure, so you can revert to online banking services, Center Mobile, and you can also go for your Center Agent banking for now, or use the ATMs for now, as they also, find a way to make sure that they guard their premises and also protect their customers. Other, corporate businesses are also going to be taking this direction to ensure that security is high and on, serious vigilance. And we still continue wanting to hear from you in regards to how best can we be vigilant in such times as this to avert the security threat. On Good Morning Uganda Extra this morning, Jagenda is going to be hosting Major General Jim Muhwezi, who is the Minister for Security, and they're going to be talking about the terror attacks, understanding the threat and responding to the challenge. And so we have that expectation of the Minister for Security being here with us on UBC this morning. Robert Chirabo, who are we having next?
You're having Fund Anatoli Muletera, who is the head of community policing in the Uganda Police Force. We want to look at how communities can avert domestic terrorism, because these people live with us, stay with us, move amongst us, and of course, that is his docket.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for choosing UBC as your preferred network, and we're going to be giving you more updates as and when they do come about with a developing story on the twin attacks that happened yesterday in morning for Kampala district. But more so, as we continue with this, we just remind you to be vigilant, be watchful, and make sure that if you suspect anything, make a call as fast as you can. You can call 112 or 999, and we'll be sharing the other numbers on the screens while we continue with our Good Morning Uganda programming. For now, allow us to take a break. When we return, we get to look at community policing.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2021 is back on Sunday, 28th November 2021, and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. in support of men, good health, and the fight against ending AIDS by 2030. It will be a virtual run in our various homes and communities around Uganda, with every participant following the Ministry of Health guidelines and SOPs to stop the spread of corona. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel Shops, New Park, Chagwe Road, ShopRite Building, Benchwanuka, Tobani Center, or Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select payment, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2021, brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
The program lineup on UBC. Brought to you by
Roofings, strength of a nation.
You by
introducing the all-new Roofings TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofings, strength of a nation.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. Thank you for being with us. We continue in the same spirit of creating awareness, vigilancy at such a time when our nation is being attacked by terrorists, and of course when these are now domestic terrorists, people that are living within us and using devices that are locally made here in common materials that we can access anywhere and readily available. Ivan Kahwa is still on location, and of course we will be connecting with him and giving you more of the feel of these incidents, where yesterday we had the true twin bombings, what the situation is right now. And joining me on set is the Community Liaisons Officer, Uganda Police Force, Anatoli Muletera, with whom we are going to be discussing how best can we involve the community, how best can the community be relevant in the fight against these criminals. Afande, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Well, first we want to stand with you in solidarity for the loss of your colleagues that could have perished in these twin bomb blasts.
True, and thank you for that.
Well, Afande, to start with, yesterday when I was listening to Afande Enanga, the police spokesperson, and I want to quote his words. He said, "The kind of threat remains significant because the suicide bomb jackets can easily be built from common household materials found in local markets, retail shops, and supermarkets. Many are used and easily bought and accessible. So all we need is extra vigilancy because the threats are still imminent and potential." Let's begin at that. You're in charge of a docket where you're supposed to go out, speak to the people, sensitize them. You're supposed to improve the relationship between police and the people so that we avert such likelihoods. Let's begin with, since we got these scares, these alerts, what have you done as your docket?
May I request you for a moment of silence in honor of the souls of our fellow Ugandans who perished in this heinous act.
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Thank you. Fellow Ugandan and Robert in particular, thank you very much for extending this invitation to me. And thank you for being very good partners. There is nothing worth mentioning than information, because information is power. And therefore, we cannot take you for granted for always endearing us and extending this kind of gesture where we can be able to share a number of issues and be able to sensitize and raise awareness to our beloved countrymen and women. In view of what you have said, you know, I think it is in the Bible where Jesus said that what goes into a man does not harm the body, but what comes out. You know, ordinarily, the illness that we suffer from, those illnesses don't come from anywhere. They come particularly from the foods that we eat, especially when you eat it excessively. That's why they tell you excessive consumption of this is dangerous to your health. Therefore, everything that happens to us is as ordinary as what we see, as what we touch, as how we move, as what we grow, and so on and so forth. In equal proportion, therefore, what the statement of the PRO, my boss, stated is true, because the terrorists no longer use very sophisticated technology to build their devices, and that's why they are called improvised electronic devices. They are built from ordinary material like ball bearing, amasasi gegali, empanka, nitric acid, ebintu ng'ebyo, emisumali, obuyondo, obuntuntu, metallic substances, ne scrap, because you may fail to use nails, but you can be able to kind of crease the scrap, and it turns out to be what I mean to what you want. So it does not require somebody from outside to do ABC.
You can excuse yourself of the mask since there's social distancing.
Okay.
Yeah, for effective.
So it may not be something that you may require high technology from outside. Rather, exposure. Maybe the question that would have asked is, besides these terrorists building their capability from local material, how do they get this kind of spirit? How do they get this kind of, you know, hard-heartedness to do whatever they do? You know, exposure, especially from these various technologies, the country, I mean the world being in a global village, that what happens in Uganda has a direct influence on somebody living in Europe, on somebody living in Kenya, on somebody living in Tanzania, on somebody living in the Scandinavian countries, on somebody living on another planet, because of the technology. And therefore, There's been a way in which technology has so much captivated the mindset of many youth that whatever happens outside there, they want to experiment it. And remember, the age of youth is the age of stress and storm. If not well handled, if not well mentored, can go the way they choose to be. It's just like the way you shape an egg. When a chicken has laid an egg, before it gets the shell, it is so tender. So therefore, you need to have a way you mold that shell so that the egg hardens and therefore becomes the right shape.
Anatoly, that well said. Our concern right now is that the enemy is with us. The enemy lives with us. And we are looking at ways how best we can uproot the enemy from within us. This enemy that stays in the communities, and that is where we are looking at your office. For example, we've seen about 3 incidents now where police has been able to go to communities, residents of people, and pick these improvised devices. Yesterday, where we saw police had to go to Katoke, that is in Nansana, and this one room, this man has been carrying out this. So this is where we want you to give us tips to better understand what we need to do better to prevent the likelihoods of such.
5 things. Fellow Ugandans, all of you on this UBC, the big network, get to know that security is a personal property and a prerequisite. Personal. And that's why we emphasize on personal security. That what takes place around you may come around you as long as you are not conscientized. Therefore, become very conscientized at the level of personal security. Why do I bring in the issue of personal security? Those who are causing danger, those who are causing these heinous acts, are people who study our routine. When we compromise on our routine, things go the way they go. We take it for granted and therefore do not become very, very cognizant of how these people behave. These people study the weakest point of your personal security, especially, and that's why they are so much based in the community. They use ordinarily what the community does, but because it is left unattended to, like the ball bearing, like the nails, and so on and so forth, they use the very items to hurt you. So personal, take it as a prerequisite. Number 2, I would like to invoke the mindset of our local leaders, the landlords, the parents. Please take on your role. Security is not a prerequisite of the police alone. I have several times been able to tell you that sometimes you people say, police, the police has not been there because we are paying them. Yes. The difference between me and you is that I chose to join the Uganda Police Force as an employee of Ugandans and therefore made an agreement with you Ugandans to serve you in this. The difference between me again with you is that my job as a policeman is permanent. And therefore, I have a clear mandate in the Constitution. For you who are viewing and listening to me, we share that role. Whereas for me, I am paid. For you, you work as Moyo Gwagwanga. And that's why in the Constitution, Article 17 provides a clear role for you as fellow Ugandans in as far as role play is concerned. And what does it say? That it shall, not will, it shall be the role of every Ugandan to cooperate with the lawful agencies in the maintenance of law and order. It is incumbent upon you, therefore, as a local leader, to ensure the safety and security of your area of responsibility and be on the tenterhooks of identifying those that we may think are wrongdoers and are about to commit whatever they are doing. Number 3 is to ensure that the entire community in which we all live, in which we all work, in which we all whatever, besides the leaders, you have a role to participate in. And that's why security, for that matter, when you are in a communal area, is a participatory role. please be able to be on the lookout, especially on items that you suspect or that you think are not yours. It may be an item an abandoned, it may be an item that glitters, but you think it is not yours and can be anything. Please don't just say, this is my turn to become a rich man and therefore go in for it. That item, you never know, may be an item that has been left there with intention to harm you. You as a community member, it is your role to remind the landlord that please, there are people whom we see behaving in a weird manner, but we suspect they live at your house. You know, sometimes, let me tell you, Bwana Robert, we have a tendency of some Ugandans, especially landlords, that their concern is all about payment.
The money they have got.
Yes, the money they have got, especially when somebody is really bankrolling well. At the end of the month,
they're not bothered.
They're not bothered.
Afande, at that point, let's look at the element of trust between security agencies. Now that I have you in police particular to communicate this, that is one of the issues, because many times people will tell you in communities, unfortunately, very unfortunate, that people most of the times know these wrongdoers, and as a police officer you're aware. When you make a breakthrough, that is when you hear stories. We've even been, so it means they have been having the information, but they don't give this information. Some will tell you that, well, you're going to report a person you suspect to be a terrorist of a high magnitude. Then at one point, they are aware who delivered this information. How are you handling this issue of confidentiality and trust within the force to enable Ugandans freely give relevant information?
You see, whereas in my presentation I was talking of factors that I was to hint on, the first part was on role play from the community. The second one was from my house. What I mean by my house, I don't mean the house where I live, but I mean my house that we as duty bearers are supposed to serve you. What am I trying to refer to? That my fourth factor is about our response. Our response, police personnel. Leave alone the issue of trust. That one I will call fight. But our response, especially when we get information from the general public, because at the end of the day, I have rallied the community, I've rallied the LOCs, I've rallied the individuals to work with the police. Now, when they come to police, how do we treat them? That's very fundamental. And partly, this is where the issue of trust and mistrust comes in. And that's why sometimes even people say, I rather meet a policeman, meet another man than meeting this. All of this come in as a result of response, our attitude, the attitude we exhibit. And therefore, at this material time, I would like to call upon fellow Uganda, and especially duty bearers, my fellow police officers. It is the time for us to reckon on what the community has already said and review it in line with our mandate. In order to qualify as professionals, we need to be overboard by one, being humane, being sincere, desire to respond to distress calls when called upon, being courteous, respectful, and above all, loving. Don't be a policeman who causes disunity. You are an agent of rumor mongering. You are an agent of distress in your community. That does not serve you. I mean, that does not portray a good image. In line with your statement of our desire to build confidence, confidence building is a gradual process, my brother. I cannot state that at this moment, because we have terror threats, we shall build total confidence among us. It all goes about how you relate, how you perceive somebody, how you kind of get that personal attachment to that person, and that is all about confidentiality. And that's why sometimes it mocks my thinking when people always want to talk about confidentiality in reference to police, but fail to talk about confidentiality in reference to families. Because we come from the families. If indeed families were stable, why do those who rush to go for wedding in churches, after wedding and having very blissome after parties, 2, 3, 4 days, their marriage has not tested weeks and is already broken?
Well, Afande, still on that, in your docket, I want to look at the issue of consistency in terms of the methods and how police carries out its duties and work. I wonder if sometimes either over time you tend to lose the grip or there's some lax that comes in. I'll take you back when we had the issue of the Muslim shootings. Strongly we had neighborhood watch. I remember that under community policing. That was something we were very, very serious about. You had instituted the Mayumba Kumi. That was every after 10 households. And you'd see police officers under your docket deployed in communities, giving out numbers. Even some areas, WhatsApp groups were created. People knew the direct person within each area. You had put a direct person in charge whom they have their mobile numbers. There is a way you had built a system by then. But over time, this seem today you can ask in a village where the Mayumba Kumis, why stay with so police officers on foot moving within community. Who is your leader elect? This is the person, they take their number. All these you seem to be acting on moments, yet security is something we believe should be continuous.
Life is all about processes. And you cannot say that because yesterday I ate, today I will not eat. No, that's not. Secondly, I would like to remind you that Christianity and other religions started over 2,000 years ago. Have you stopped going to church? Have you stopped sinning? Have you stopped doing whatever? No. In the same way, while all those approaches through community policing have been built over time, we have not forgotten them. We go about reminding people about the desire for strong neighborhood watch, about the desire for people to cooperate with each other, about the desire for LOCs to register, to call security meetings. But you see, let me tell you, the biggest issue that we all need to fight is the issue of mindset. How people perceive everything in their ordinary life. Some of these things that we talk about are taken for granted. Take an example, my dear Robert. Would it be me for you to begin questioning about any eventuality that can take place at your home? When, one, you took time to plan, you took time to save money, you got building material, and therefore constructed a very magnificent building that I can talk about. But you left out security. Who do you think should first secure your property? Is it me? Is it you? Or it is a collective responsibility? That is one. Two, still mindset, where people take security for granted. And that's why even when you go to ceremonies, and I know you look one who participates even on these ceremonies as a master of ceremony. Baba Itabatiaba.
We go with that.
Okay. But there is a Chigana word. There is a Chigana word. Okay. So now, you will find somebody getting a microphone and saying, abaye mutule mulye mutule ntende munye security gulu. Meaning that please you can be able to do whatever you want because there is
security, maximum security.
Maximum security. But who is guaranteeing maximum security if you as an individual are not conscientized about your own security? You are talking about security gulu because you have seen one policeman in a crowd of 2,000, in a crowd of 3,000, in a crowd of whatever. Please, this all comes about our attitude. Can we reinvigorate our mind and remove these elements of mfuniramu wa tebinkwatako ebyo byabwe bwatutamatama. That does not build Uganda.
Well, it's time now I come to you, our viewer, for your contribution in this discussion this morning as we look at fighting terror through communities, where we know that, yes, now we are battling, that is domestic terrorism. These are people with us. Our number is 0709, that is 60 25 92. That is our WhatsApp number. Please feel free to send in, that is your SMS or your WhatsApp message, and we will be reading them out. Today we have, that is the head of community policing, Uganda Police, Afande Anatoli Muletera, with whom we are discussing ways through which we can uproot and avoid these people from staying and being able to execute their missions within us, because they belong and they reside amongst us. So how best can we do this as communities to help the security agencies, like he quoted the Constitution, that it shall, and you're mandated to cooperate and work with security organizations in fighting crime in our country. So that is the number. Your screen, please feel free to send us your message, your observation into the topic of discussion this morning. Afande Anatoli, rightly you said it is our responsibility, but also
no, our shared responsibility. It
is our shared responsibility. Yes. But you see, much as individuals have a role to play, and that is embedded in our Constitution, sometimes it is more upon giving information and moving closer. How have you bridged this gap? How have you moved closer to give people relevant information, to emphasize their role, their responsibility in terms of ensuring they partner with you, even giving them right measures or channels through which they can work with you?
They are varied, especially the overt methods that we use through the Department of Community Policing in conjunction with our other units, for example, the CT, CID, CI. Some of the methodologies that we use are those of sensitization. Like right now, where I am conducting sensitization, and our police personnel out there are doing the same. The other one is reaching out to the community through inspection of the various installations, especially installations of vital installations in and around Kampala. These include banks, parks, malls, to mention but a few. Then another issue is ensuring that we train and conscientize some of the private security guards that you put in place. And another thing is that we urge the premises owner or landlords, especially for commercial buildings, to ensure that they are able to put overt methods like the hand probe machines, the walkthroughs, but above all, to urge people to use their ocular. There is no better tool or a better technology that you can be able to build on other than the eye. Another method that we have been able to use, especially through forensic science, forensic, through our Directorate of ICT, is building the network of the CCTV cameras, especially in in choke places. And that's why in the event of yesterday, you realize that technology played a very, very big role in as far as identifying those that are concerned. But above all, we build a network between our technology and the private CCTV cameras in ensuring that we can be able to share that kind of information. Then another one is also through our forensic science. This one is more technical because it involves analyzing the footages that have been produced by the ICT to move around. Then the other overt methods are those of outreaches. While I am here, mother staff and the other departments like city have formed teams to move in and around and throughout the country to ensure that we build a momentum of vigilance as we are more alert. So this calls upon all of you, especially those of you who are viewing us on this TV, to ensure that you take our information honestly and please work on that. In view of what you are saying,
finally,
you have talked about the desire for giving the public contacts. Can you give me a moment to give them that contact? So please, our esteemed listeners and viewers, I would like to call upon you. You use these telephone lines in sharing any information. And please, Robert, I want also to use this opportunity to urge my fellow policemen, be courteous, be friendly to the community, and ensure that any information that they may give, it may not be right information, but it may be information really to help them bolster their security around. So please, don't disregard it, don't undermine it, and don't back at them. Be as courteous as possible and as friendly as required. Please take a note of these telephone numbers. They are all toll-free, and when required, please work with us. 0800 300 102. The second number is 0800 19 9699. Another one is 0707. I said 0707 600 733. The last one, there are many, but I don't want to overcrowd
let's
you.
go.
Yes, the last one is an MTN line, 077 699 9136. Our esteemed listeners and viewers on this big network, those are toll-free numbers. Call us at any moment when you feel you want to communicate to us. It will be our role and therefore desire to serve you. This is a moment for which I would like to call upon each and every one of us to be more united than ever in ensuring that we put an end to terrorism and terrorism threats. Well, may the Almighty God bless you and continue to serve and protect Uganda.
Well, I want to thank you, Afande Anatoli, but there were some messages that came in response to actually what we've just been discussing, and many have been calling upon police to improve your cooperation with the public, and also have please let the police get to know, let the police get to know that so much has to be done in terms of improving their relationship with the public. So that is one thing that many people are raising here. And I think when you go back, one of the most important issues would be how best do we improve this relationship. Some were saying police is more visible when it comes to instituting arrests and also maybe certain things that have financial implication rather than when they are needed to carry out proper investigations and help in emergencies.
Will you want me to respond to that?
Definitely.
Yeah, those are individual choices of our police personnel, but not rather an institutional mechanism. But since it is our role as supervisors at my level, I would like to promise that that's good information. I commit myself to, one, bring it to the attention of my bosses, but also take it up in ensuring that those individuals are brought to book. But I also want to call upon our listeners and viewers. Give credit where it is due. Because sometimes you may demoralize some of our police personnel, especially those who put their lives beyond the bar. Because you realize that some of them indeed live, serve beyond their expectations. It is just like when you have a child at home, and every other time you begin saying, like sometimes I even condemn my fellow men. Sometimes, you know, men have a tendency of pride. Anything good is theirs. Anything bad is for the woman.
So it's all about appreciating the men and women in uniform.
No. It is all about appreciating all of us.
Okay.
We name and shame, but at the same time, we give credit where it's due in order to build confidence. You know, there is nothing which makes some of us more proud, like serving our country and saying thank you.
Okay, well, I'll hand over to Priscilla. She has a few messages there for you before you leave. Comments from Priscilla.
Okay, all right. First of all, we want to say thank you so much for your service to the community of Uganda as far as policing is concerned. We just want to look at some of the reviews from the conversation Robert and Afande and Atoli have had. Thank you for the show. I'm Emmanuel Asiku from Aurora. For me, I think Uganda police still need a lot of adjustment in their contact with community members because they have created a poor relationship with Ugandans. So it's very hard for them to open up because many of us look at the force as a group of torture and harsh treatment of Ugandans who are mere suspects as we fear opening up. Well, that's a comment from someone in Narua. We do have another respondent here. May our citizens rest in peace, those that have lost their lives due to the twin bomb blasts. There is one commonest religion, biggest percentage that is involved in suicide bombing. Can we train investigators and send them to their places of worship? Is this too much? It's a question. I thank the police for their alertfulness, their speed and commitment that they showed yesterday. Definitely, we all do agree with the response of the security agencies yesterday was quite on point. But the question, Afande Anatoli, the question is, can we train investigators to actually, just go and do groundwork and in some of these places that are suspected to have these groupings?
Thank you, Priscilla. On issue of, and first of all, thank you also our esteemed listeners and viewers there. Asiku, thank you. And those others I didn't identify myself with. On the issue of investigations, investigations is both an art and a science. And therefore, it is not something that you can desire to rush and conclude, because there are some scenes of crime that are very, very complicated. They may be multiple. Take an example of the issue of terrorism. The issue of terrorism is very complicated in nature that you may realize that the scenes of crime where this could have happened starts from where the inception of planning, recruitment, training, and so on could have happened until the eventual execution. Okay. And therefore, when you say, please do timely investigations, it may not serve the purpose, it may overshadow facts, and you may not really get what you're expected to get. All right.
Afande, Obukui is also saying that much attention is being given to Kampala, but how about people up country?
Thank you for that information, but I'd like to give my assurance to Okui. That one is Ms. Okui?
Obukui.
Obukui, I'd like to give you assurance that Uganda Police Force is everywhere, and we have built capabilities over time. That's why you realize that there are 147 districts.
46.
146 districts. And in all those districts, we have district police commanders. We have OC CID, OC station, CI, CLO. All of those are personnel under the Uganda Police Force with the capabilities. Maybe what my brother would desire to know is that in case something of this nature happened where he is, how, and then the local police may not be in position to handle, what do you do? There is a response. There is call for reinforcement. Yes, but the capabilities are there, and please, I assure you, be rest assured, just cooperate with us, get information that you think is very vital, and you will see the miracle being done.
Well, Afande, I want to thank you so much for your time and, of course, the tips that you've given to the public. Together, we can defeat the terrorists. Let's work together as security agencies and be vigilant. We'll leave you with Priscilla to carry on. Have a lovely morning.
Thank you so much. But Chirabo, now we want to turn our attention to your traffic and look at what the traffic is looking like in the area code that pretty much suffered the greatest impact with the twin bomb blasts, and that is this particular zone that we are seeing here, which encompasses Kampala Road onto Ginger Road and Yusuf Lule and Rand Bombo Road, where you do have the Central Police Station, and then also where you do have Parliamentary Avenue. The did have another bomb blast happening in that area code. So we want to just zoom in there and see exactly what the traffic is looking like. Now we do have Naila Avenue right above Kingdom Kampala. We do have UBC onto the Nile Avenue roundabout this morning. There is some traffic that is picking up coming in from the Oasis roundabout. Obviously, because of the diversionary routes that have been created, no access as of now on Parliamentary Avenue, and so the traffic that is being affected, of course, is the one heading into Kimathi Avenue, Parliamentary Avenue. People that work with KCCA, people that do work with all other government parastatals that have offices in this particular area code, no access yet is being given to public transport and also private vehicles. Now that is definitely a challenge, meaning that traffic is now being averted. So rather than use Nile Avenue to come into Parliamentary Avenue, you will have to come down from Nile Avenue and connect right to Ginger Road. Alternatively, you're going to also have to just, if you're coming in from Ginger Road and this was supposed to be your access area, well, you're going to have to use Colvin Street Park somewhere, and then you might want to use footwork to access the rest of the area. But as we look at more of that traffic, we want to see where Ivan Kahwa is this morning. We were supposed to have him at the Central Police Station to also look at the state of the aftermath of the bomb blast that happened at Central Police Station this morning. Good morning to you once again, Ivan Kahwa, and what is the update this morning regarding Central Police Station?
Yes, good morning once again. Ivan Kahwa is my name, and I am camping at Central Police Station in Kampala, where a bomb blast was witnessed yesterday just opposite Kochi Tower, and this is the building that was partly damaged while the man detonated himself. But of course, currently what we are looking at is whether the people who are operating in Kochi Towers will be able to be allowed to come and conduct business as usual. I have witnessed quite a number of them who have come to access the building. Some have been advised by security to access the facility, while others are still stranded just outside the place that has been cordoned off. But with me, I have one of the gentlemen who had come to access the building, and he is still here. But briefly, in just about 30 seconds, maybe he's going to tell us what exactly he has come to do. Sebo amanya go na chicho zokolo unako lwalero wano.
Amanya gange nze Katabarwa Bright nga ndi mutuze we Nansana. Badde nze wano kukola mirimu gyaffe nga we gitambula, naye tuze okulaba ng'embeera mbi nga woogiraba. Ebizimbe bikyagaddwa, tunkolera okukokitawa ejobo mwe yabadde. Fine, twafunye okukosebwa, naye era tusigala twetaaga ekyokuyiiya nga omanyi Kampala weetambula. Mmere tukolera abasinga mmere ya leero, kati tubadde ffe kye tusaba batugulewo ebbamu bagitegedde yayabise ne batuyamba batugulewo ffe tutandika okukolera.
Abasecurity babagambye ekiboze wano.
Security terina kye tugamba musembereyo tugenda kulaba obencha banagulawo, naye si batulaga nti olwaleero sikwe kugulawo.
Kati oddayo Nansana ku budde buno?
Siddayo Nansana, nina okubeerawo kubanga nina okupambana mu buli ngeri.
Kale twazanyuse bwebale kuwaya mukono ffe. Well, that is one of the gentlemen who operates in this building, and he has been advised by security that the place is still cut off, and perhaps maybe when security advises tomorrow, business will be conducted as usual. But briefly, lastly, in about a minute, there are two transformers here, and the other transformer where there is a green kind of metal is where they had wrapped that bomb that was detonated by the bomb squad. And just above it, you realize that there is a CCTV camera just on top of it, meaning there is a possibility that that camera could have actually recorded someone who came and planted that improvised explosive device just at that transformer. And even this side, on the left side as well, if that camera may be hard to capture it, there is a camera, a 360 camera, just close here. Let me stand into the frame. This is where I am, and this is the camera. But on the left side is where the person planted that improvised explosive device that was detonated by security. And I believe these cameras might be critical and key in terms of helping security to identify that specific person who had planted that bomb. Security is still here. The military police is still on ground. They are trying to guide the members on what exactly to do. But of course, this road, Kampala Road, was cut off entirely yesterday and there was no any vehicle. But you can see the Pioneer buses are operating now. The taxis are also operating and traffic is just flowing normally here. And what I have realized as well, whoever is accessing these buses is being checked and as well being checked using a metal detector. And of course, this is a wake-up call for what happened yesterday. But you know, with Uganda, many times when such catastrophes happen, there is a little bit of seriousness in the first week and the second week. And then, of course, after that time, things always go back to normal. And I think this is the other aspect we really need to reconsider as we are trying to encourage Ugandans to be more vigilant. That is the update from here at Central Police Station in Kampala. And of course, 2 people were reported dead from this specific location, and those were civilians, including the suicide bomber who as well died on spot. So 3 people were confirmed dead at this location, and 3 people were confirmed dead at the other Jubilee location where we were very early in the morning, bringing the total number to 6 people, excluding the alleged terrorists. Of course, those are 3 citizens and the others who are nursing wounds. That is the update for now, and I wish to hand back to studio.
Thank you so much, Ivan Kahwa, and we're going to be giving you these throughout the day. Of course, he has made mention 6 people did lose their lives, 3 of those being the terrorists, the suicide bombers, and 3 being civilians. We do have the total number now rising by 3 people from 33 to 36 in the wake of this morning. Those that are in various hospitals and clinics nursing the injuries that they suffered from the twin bomb blasts. 5 of those are in a critical condition. I have seen something in the background of where Ivan Kahwa was, a police officer handing over some material to a civilian. I know that, of course, business has been condoned off and cut off in that area code, but that generosity of their funding helping this civilian to be able to get their goods out of the shop and be able to go do their business elsewhere for the day, because people around that area live for the day. Their bread is for the day. Well, Good Morning Uganda does continue, and we're just going to have a sneak peek into what you should do in case you have a suspicious item around you. Together we can keep our communities safe, and as the Afande did communicate to you that it starts with us. Vigilance starts with you and me. So in case you encounter suspicious item unexpectedly or while conducting one of those searches around your premises, make sure that 1, you remain calm, 2, do not touch, tamper with or move the package, bag or item, and then 3, notify authorities immediately. Notify your facility supervisor or manager, it could be an administrator, and then call 999 for us, and then follow the instructions that they will share with you on those numbers. And again, just to share the numbers with you for toll-free regarding terror threats in Uganda currently, you can call police on either 112, or you can call them on 999, or you can call them up on 0800-199-699, or you can call them on 0800-12-229. Those are the numbers to call in case of any information that could help aid the investigation for this season that we are in. Again, stay alert and stay vigilant. Doesn't mean that COVID-19 should be also put on the side. COVID-19 is still real, and it's the other enemy that we are fighting here in Uganda. So make sure that as you transact business and make your movements this morning, wear your mask, sanitize, and stay away from public spaces. That is very important right now. But nevertheless, our target still remains at the end of this year, we must achieve the 5 million fully vaccinated Ugandans, and you have got to be among those statistics at the end of the year. We do expect the president to address the nation at the end of this week, or possibly Friday, in regards to the security state and also COVID-19 matters. Allow us to engage Ruben Pima Chibirango and also Jagenda Semakula, who's going to be hosting Major Jim Muhezi on the matters of security here in Uganda. He's the Minister for Security, and he's going to be giving us an update in that regard in his capacity. Good morning to you, Ruben.
Good morning, Priscilla. How are you today?
Well, it's a tough morning, we must say, but we soldier on.
I know. Yesterday was really a tough day for Ugandans, and I'm pretty sure that those who were within town had some bit of panic until security had to control it. But anyway, I'll go straight into sports. I want to go into security issues because whatever happened yesterday happened, and we need to move on from that. But of course, we have to be vigilant. We need to always be on alert, because you don't know who is next to you. Jagina is next to me here, but I don't know what he has come with. Maybe he has something in his pockets. Maybe.
I went through the security checks.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are safe. I'm
no,
sure here.
Yes, I made sure that I come in safely. Okay. I don't know whether you checked, but I was checked.
I came in at 4. I don't think they checked me. They can't be here at 4. I don't think. And that's the problem with the shooter in every government institution. They normally wake up at 8. They don't know what it means to be on alert at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning. That's why I'm not sure whether they checked my car or not.
You are indicting them.
No, I'm telling you the truth. The problem with security, they always go out sleep. You find them sleeping. I don't know what is happening next. But like Ivan said in his when he was giving us the update on this, around Kampala Road, that normally the first 3-4 days security is on alert. After 5 days, you don't see them anywhere. So I would be very honest with you. I don't think they checked me in the morning. I don't think so.